I am Jennie Joseph. I am a midwife and an activist. I fight for families. I fight for you. Perinatal means the time around birth and includes before pregnancy, during pregnancy, labor and delivery, postpartum, and any time in between. The perinatal pause provides the time to reflect on the root causes of where we are, where we've been, and to create strategies for how we can transform maternity care in America. So thank you so much for coming in today, Katrina. I so appreciate it. I really wanted you to be the one to talk through this with me because you have so much experience. How long have you been in the field of maternal child health?
20 years.
That's what I thought. 20 years.
Yes.
Of course, you look like you're older, 22. So,
Yes.
my gosh, you started early, huh?
Yes, I did. At 22.
Oh, okay. Right. So look at that. I mean, over those 20 years, you've seen a lot.
Yes.
You've done a lot.
Yes.
I mean, what would you say is the biggest change since you started in terms of health care for women and people who are, of color or, or in marginalized situations? What do you think is the biggest change that you've seen?
I feel that the change that has happened in the world is just the access. Like, patients don't have the access that they need.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid to ask the questions.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid to just let someone know what's going on with them, and then they don't get the care that they need. Or just at the hospitals, they don't really hear what they're saying because they don't know how to just say it outright.
Yeah. I think along with that as well is this whole fear that is popping up, especially for Black women and Indigenous women, women with different languages from different ethnicities. There's a fear that just sort of permeated having a baby. And I think, it doesn't take much. Every time you open social media, every time you see a news article or a news report, you're hearing about the risk of having a baby in America.
Yes.
Particularly for Black women and people of color. So with the lack of access to being able to be heard, I would say almost the lack of access to being seen, and certainly to being taken seriously, especially we think about celebrities that are in the same dilemma as everyday folk. Your fame and your, money and your insurance and all the things that you have managed to achieve in your life do not protect you.
Correct. And we've seen that over the years. Just recently here in Florida.
Yeah. So for me, I think one of the ways to begin to help people find a place of peace, because you should be happy in a pregnancy, for goodness sake. This is the most joyful event that can happen and to a family. And so to not be able to relax into that, to have confidence, to feel that you have bodily autonomy, to feel that your wishes and desires will be respected. To not have that, to me, is a travesty. In fact, I think it's a human rights violation.
I agree.
Yeah. So I want to talk today a little bit then about what can people do? So we're talking about, tips and ideas for the birthing mother, father, partners, family, grandma, neighbor, anybody who loves that pregnant person or that delivered postpartum person, because a lot of this problem shows up in the postpartum.
Yes.
So we want to talk today a little bit about what are the danger signs to watch out for, and more importantly, what do you do about them? So let's go. What have you got there on your list? Because I see you have something there.
So I have our passport, and what this passport is, it just basically helps the patient identify the things that are not normal.
Okay.
So if they have blurry vision, if they have swelling, if the baby's not moving, if they're leaking fluid, they need to contact us. That's the number one thing. They need to reach out to us to let us know what's going on. They have to speak it. They have to tell us so that we can do something about it. So we have this little passport card because it has the important danger signs on it so that the patients are aware of these are things that happen that are not normal.
The other part, I think, and I love this, of course, you know me. I mean, this is the best thing that ever, I think, ever happened to obstetric care is
Yes.
having patients have their own records to hand 24/7, which is what we
Yes.
use the passport for. But the piece that I think is really relevant is that there's a 24-hour phone number
Yes.
if you have any of those signs.
Yes. So if they do have the signs, they have that 24-hour number all the time on hand with them to call to let someone know and make them aware of these issues.
Now, in 20 years, how many times have you answered that phone at the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning?
I can't even count, but I just want to keep going with it because I just know that it makes a difference. A lot of patients complain that they don't have anybody to reach out to, or they can't call them, or they don't know what to do. So just by having this little card here, it just makes me feel great to know that I'm helping and making a difference with the patients.
I'm really grateful too. I know that in the 20 years that you have been in maternal child health, you've never lost a mother, never lost a baby.
No.
That speaks volumes.
It does.
So you gave us some of the danger signs there. What
Yes.
about preterm labor signs? What are they?
Preterm labor signs. So if you're having some leakage, if you're having some menstrual cramps, if you're having some low backache, things like that, you want to make sure you call to let your provider know that something's going on, is not normal, and because of the early pregnancy status, that we need to know these things.
So a preterm baby is any baby born before 37 weeks, right?
Yes.
One of the things that's really important for people to know, especially Black women and people of color, there's a higher incidence of preterm labor, not because there's anything wrong with them, not because their body doesn't work, but because people ignore the signs when they tell them, I'm having these signs.
Correct.
And so that's another reason why we list them on the passport card,
Yes.
because we want to make sure they have those signs to hand, because the sooner you get on it, the quicker you can act, the higher chance that you can stop the preterm labor and have mothers go to term.
Yes.
I'm really proud of the fact that, you know, in our work, we have the opposite problem. We have people at 40 weeks and 41 weeks begging, can I get this baby, please? I can't do another day, because they have gone full term without any intervention, without any interference. And so I think the reason that these, pointing out these signs, having an access point to get the calls answered, to reach anybody you need to 24 hours, I think all of those types of behaviors from the clinic side of things, from the clinician's perspective, is what has moms managed to get their babies all the way to term. What do you think?
I totally agree. I feel that's a big part of it, and just being available, knowing that they can reach out to us with these questions, and if they're having these symptoms, and that we take care of those issues right away so that we don't have those issues, because preterm labor can stop.
Yes, we see it all the time.
At a certain time. So it's really great that we have this so that we can let the patients know that we can do things about it and fix it. So that's why we have that high post-date rate.
Indeed.
Which is a good thing.
Nothing wrong with a full-term healthy baby and a full-term placenta that's providing for that baby. One thing I want to make sure everybody understands is that if you look anywhere in any hospital neonatal unit in the United States of America, the majority of babies, if not all of them, are going to be babies of color. And that speaks volumes.
Black or brown babies.
Black or brown babies are filling our NICUs across this country. And it's not, again, because there's something wrong with Black women or people of color that they can't hold a baby. Because we've seen when we work with them this way, when they have access to us, they do great. Okay, let's quickly talk about postpartum signs and things that can show up and need to be reported in. So what kind of things should people look out for after they've had that baby?
They need to look out for swelling, headaches, and bad thoughts.
Yes. I mean, you know, the preeclampsia is one of the major problems as far as high risk. And yes, you can have seizures or, you know, what's called eclampsia as preeclampsia continues and isn't treated. So the thing is that most folk who are in the postpartum who are at risk for that, they've already left the hospital or the birthing center. There's no one looking. There's no one taking care. So they are now left to fend for themselves. So it's important to watch for signs of preeclampsia in the postpartum. That would be swelling, hands, feet, face, headaches, blurred vision, a little bit of nausea, vomiting maybe. If you have a blood pressure cuff or can get a blood pressure reading, the blood pressure is usually very high, just as it is in preeclampsia when it's in the pregnancy. But the postpartum blood pressure can also be high. And this can lead to seizures. It can be very, very dangerous indeed and needs action right away. And then, yes, mood disorders. They do show up in pregnancy as well, but they are much worse in postpartum. And again, no one's watching.
Right.
You might be out of the birth center the same day or the hospital 2 days after you've delivered. Now what are you going to do? Right? So if you're beginning to notice that your mood's changing, that you're a little down, you're crying uncontrollably, you're not getting up and getting dressed, you're not managing the baby, or you are feeling really bad thoughts, suicidal thoughts, you need to reach out for help. So let's talk about then, how do you reach out for help?
Well, you're going to call the same number on your passport. All of our patients have this little passport card, and if they have any signs that they're concerned about, they reach out to us.
That's right. But you know, a lot of clinics, a lot of practices, a lot of OBs, midwives, etc., it's sometimes hard to find them. So we have to figure out, how do we empower people to take care of themselves? How do we encourage partners and family members, loved ones, workmates, anybody who's around a pregnant or postpartum person to realize we all need to support that person in reaching out for help? So I would say, first and foremost, try your provider. There may well be a way to reach them after hours. If you don't know, ask. Find out, what is the after hours number, or what is the plan if I can't reach you? Where should I go? Who should I talk to? If that doesn't work, then the next thing is to find your local hospital and reach out to their triage department or their emergency room department and see if they can help point you in the right direction, or if they can service you. If that doesn't work, then you're calling 911. I mean, we have to sort of keep going up the chain until somebody responds.
Right.
Don't take a chance with your life.
No.
Don't take a chance with your baby. You are too important. You deserve health care.
Yes.
It's a human right.
Right. And no matter what your status is, you deserve that.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you stopping in. I appreciate all these useful tips. I want to make sure everybody knows you can always find support by looking online through organizations such as Commonsense Childbirth, which is our organization, or going to our social media pages. And, you know, we will help you as best we can if you can't find help anywhere else. So, yeah. Thank you, Katrina.
Thank you.
20 years. My goodness.
Stay connected by following us on Instagram at I am Jennie Joseph, or visiting our website, www.jenniejoseph.com.